Thank you for joining us this evening, and this is part 3 of our teaching that we're doing on what is a transliteration. And the purpose of this teaching is to help you in knowing that what a transliteration actually means. So if you know that you're doing what the definition is, that as far as pronouncing the Creator's name or the Mashiach's name, that you're going to feel much more comfortable in using his name or the Mashiach's name, because you know that you're using the same sounds that the original Hebrew letters made when they were originally written. I'm going to read just one real quick time, because we've already mentioned this on the 2 other sessions, of what the definition of a transliteration is. It is pronouncing a name or word the same as it is spoken in the original language, using the letters of the second language to make the same sound as the original language. I'll read it one more time. It's pronouncing a name or word the same as it is spoken in the original language, using the letters of the second language to make the same sound as the original language. Now, with that said, we're going to finish up with the last letter of the Creator's name. We've already spent on the first 2 sessions, and if you haven't seen those, then go back and listen to those. But the first 2 sessions, we talked about that the Creator's name, properly transliterated over from the Hebrew letters into using English letters. How do we make the same sounds? And again, Hebrew reads from right to left. How do we make the first 3 letters of the Creator's name? How do we make those sounds in English and know that we're doing them accurately? We've talked about the first 2 letters being the pronunciation of Yah. This is found in the word halal, or the phrase halal Yah. The Yah part being the Creator's first 2 letters of his name is the short. Some refer to it as the short poetic form of his name, but it's like maybe some call it like a contraction of his name. Like we talk about, like some people's name maybe would be Daniel. We might call him Dan. Well, if you called him Dan, it'd still be calling him Daniel, but you just shorten his name. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but anyway, it's 2 of the letters of the 4 that the Creator's name, when you give the pronunciation of Yah, but it is referring to our Creator, whose name is accurately pronounced Yahuah. The 3rd letter gives us the U sound, and not the Wah or the Vav sound as in modern Hebrew. We've already talked about that fact on the first 2 sessions. Again, go back and listen to those if you haven't heard them. The last letter, now the last letter and the second letter are the same. But the last letter, when it's used, which is referred to as in modern Hebrew as a he, or in ancient Hebrew would be referred to as a ha. But as far as the sound that this letter makes, it makes the H sound when it's at the beginning of a word, or say in the middle part of a word, but when it's at the end of a word, it makes the ah sound. Now we know that, excuse me, how do we know that? Well, it's found in certain words that we know how they were pronounced. Give you an example, like the word we talked about in our last session, Yahudah. The last letter in Yahudah gives us this letter here, the hey or the ha. And it's pronounced, when you pronounce it, we all know that Yahudah is the way that last letter is pronounced. It's just pronounced a little differently if it's at the end of a word. It really actually has the ah sound. So it gives us Yahu, first 3 letters, and the last letter would give us the ah. Yahuah would be how the Creator's name is pronounced. Now, this is a accurate transliteration with our definition that we've used, taking the Hebrew letters, what these 4 letters they would sound in Hebrew, and using English letters to give us the pronunciation of Yahuah. So, I hope that's helping you. I hope you're understanding then about what really is a true, accurate transliteration. Excuse me. With that said, that's why you see sometimes, and I'm going to point this out to you, that you see the word, well, going back to the Creator's name, I'm going to pick up this here, just to, excuse me for a moment, to illustrate this. Now, this is, our Creator's name written with English letters. This is the accurate way, Yahuah. Now, a lot of people will write it out with a W in here. Excuse me. They use a W in here, which really is not only unnecessary, it causes confusion on a lot of people, because why put a letter in his name? And if you're really doing a transliteration, you only use letters to help you make the same sounds as the original Hebrew letters. These aren't Hebrew letters, these are English letters. This letter, the third letter, Yahu, it makes the U sound, not a W sound. So when you put a W in there, it's going to sound like Yahuah. Now some people say, well, I'll put a W in there just so people know it's a Y, but I still pronounce it as Yahuah. But doing that why do that? Because you're actually misleading a lot of people that are going to, if you were to use a W in there, are going to think that the Creator's name is pronounced Yahuah, and it's not. That third letter, we've already talked about this, makes a U sound, not a W sound or a V sound. That's why it doesn't make. That's why you don't get the pronunciation as Yahovah. It's not a V. It's a U sound. So when you're writing using English letters, there's no need to write a W, because and again, give you an example of that. Another reason why. Let's just take the word, we talked about this, like Yahudah. Now, Yahudah is spelled like the Creator's name, except we were going to write a D in here. Okay? Yahudah is how you would pronounce the tribe of Judah, Yahudah. Now, if you were to use a W in here, like when you're writing the Creator's name, it's not pronounced Yahuwada. It's not. Why put a W in there when you're only misleading people of how that name, or his name, the tribe of Judah, is pronounced? It's Yahudah. So again, that's why we don't write an English W when I write the Creator's name, simply because it's not only not necessary, it's misleading, giving people the idea that W sound should be in the name, and it should not be. So I hope this has helped you. We're going to maybe share a little bit more in our next session about this. But the main thing is to help you to understand what a true transliteration would be of how to pronounce the Creator's name. On our next session, I'd like to get into the Mashiach's name, just to show you how it should be transliterated and how it should be pronounced based upon the Hebrew letters that are used for his name. So, with that said, Baruch haba b'shem Yahuah. Blessed is he who comes in the name of Yahuah. Shalom.